Welcome back. It's time now for Media Watch. Whilst we're waiting for James, I'll fill you in on some of the things that we'll be speaking about in this next segment. The BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, is in the middle of a huge scandal over what has been termed as a suspected cover-up. This gentleman is at the centre of it all. I say gentleman, he's now deceased. Jimmy Savile, a one-time star of the channel, children's TV presenter. He's accused of being a paedophile, basically interfering with, as they put it, boys and girls over a long period. James is now here. James, we've seen these pictures here. Jimmy Savile was a household name, certainly a figment in my childhood. I saw him on TV all the time. Clearly one of the most trusted people that went through the media in the UK. And it seems that he has abused that trust in the worst possible way.
That seems to be the case. Passed away last year, you know, given honours, a whole lot of it.
He was knighted, wasn't he?
That's right. And it's a pretty awful story, and it's left the BBC in a very difficult position, defending themselves today for what looks in some respects as the indefensible, i.e. trying to cover up the extent to which this went on over the years. Some would say even on BBC premises.
That's certainly one of the things that some of the abused now adults are talking about when they were kids being taken to the BBC and abused by Savile in a dressing room.
200 accusations. I think from two aspects of it are particularly interesting from a media point of view. A, that this Culture and Media Committee at the Parliament is for the second time in about 12 months dealing with a massive scandal inside one of the kind of establishment media organisations. You've got News International on the one hand, rocked by that phone hacking scandal. Now this, which is perhaps even bigger because it's dealing with paedophilia and child abuse by somebody who was trusted by the entire nation, certainly by the public broadcaster. Who knew about it inside? That's the other big question. How far up the chain of command did it go? There's accusations that some 9 or 10 other people are being investigated.
It's one of these things that people often talked about, the rumours about Jimmy Savile being involved in this kind of thing, and people wouldn't believe it. People would say it's people who are jealous of him, laying allegations against him. But now all these people have come forward to relate what happened to them.
The late 90s about this kind of stuff, but people didn't believe it, and he was seen to be kind of, you know, it was seen to be too big.
I think he was first questions on his behaviour as early as the 1960s. That goes back even that far.
And then there's this. Let's take a look at this photo. It's with Max Clifford. He was the guy who started the whole rumour or the procedure against Gary Glitter, another star of the 60s and 70s, pictured here with the well, that's not Gary Glitter, actually. He's further down.
Savile. That's Savile when he was younger,
right,
in his supposed heyday.
And Max Clifford here is saying more names are going to come out from this period. This is the actual picture of Gary Glitter, who was a friend of Jimmy Savile. Gary Glitter, who is now in prison for child abuse. Now, a couple of the reactions online, Mark. Now, the reason we're talking about it so much today is this Panorama show last night, which investigated another investigative news show in the same organisation's failings to actually put out a report on what was going on inside. So this Panorama about the BBC at its worst is the BBC at its best. So a lot of people pointing out that sort of strange, I suppose, paradox really of having great reporting done by the BBC about the BBC and unveiling some of the worst aspects of I suppose, the organisation. Praising, and another person is saying, hold on a minute, let's not get too, you know, let's not praise the Panorama too much. Praising of the BBC for letting Panorama investigating Newsnight is akin to praising an arsonist for tackling a fire. Now, other people, there was a lot of internal correspondence that came out as well from the BBC as to why that Newsnight show, the original show that investigated all of these goings on, why it didn't air, which is what the Panorama show was all about. And one of the accusations was that it was just the victims' testimonies that had been collected. There wasn't any evidence stronger than that, which is a bit of a ridiculous thing to say, right?
The hashtag there, just the women, that was apparently what was said by the show, the programme's editor, when he said, well, that's all we had, the women's testimony. Well, you know, eyewitness testimony is enough usually to go forward.
I think this tweet says it best, Mark, if I can find it here. This is from a Guardian journalist. Just the women is exactly what victims of abuse and sexual violence believe the authorities will think and why they don't speak.
Indeed.
So
completely.
it played into all of those. So I suppose the question now is how far up the chain of command will this go? If, as Max Clifford says, there's more people out there, more names to come out, this could just be the beginning of a massive storm. So and it reminds me of the start of the whole phone hacking thing where you kind of think, oh, where is this going to stop? and what other names are going to emerge.
Now, of course, the boss, the Director General of the BBC, has been before Parliament today. I don't think we've got time to play exactly what he said, but give us a feeling of what he
I think
told
we've some pictures of him at least speaking to the Parliament, and he was grilled by MPs. One said he sounded a bit like James Murdoch. He was obviously very apologetic for what went on, and said that there is an investigation that's going to take place into 9 other people at the BBC, past and present.
Questions need to be answered and the truth needs to be heard. That's basically, I think, absolutely, the theme that we should all end on. James, thank you very much indeed. Mark. James Creedon with Media Watch. Stay with us after a short break. We're back with more news, some sport and some culture. You're watching Live in Paris on France 24.